Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode I'm going to be giving you guys a bit of a rundown and thoughts on my suspension setup. This is probably my number one most asked question. What suspension do I run? So I'm going to be explaining to you guys what I run. It's kind of more of a review on the fulcrum aspect, not the 1-inch shackle on the back, as I am nearing my third completion of my suspension setup. That made absolutely zero sense. What I was trying to say is that I'm nearing completion of my 3rd inch of lift, not whatever the hell I just spat out then. Nearing completion of my 3rd inch of lift. That's what I meant. So I want to give you guys a bit of a rundown because I'm about to change a couple of things out, shocks included. So I want to give you guys a rundown on my suspension setup and how I rate it. So the kit that I have is the FULCRUM. It's a FULCRUM raw nitro setup. It is a 45 to 50 millimeter lift off the top of my head. Now it cost me about $1,380 I think off the top of my head, which is a pretty fair price for it. Like I said, you can get them cheaper if you get the formula shocks. However, I decided to go with the raw shocks. This was purchased, supplied by and fitted by my local tyre power dealer. I did tyres, lift and rims all in one go. So in the rear I've got, it consists of again raw shocks. But it consists of, I don't know if it's going to go here, yep, your formula leaf springs, which they're a 300 kilogram rated spring. So we knew that I would be doing steel tray with possibility of the canopy. And at the time I did this, I also had a camper. So I was intending on towing a lot of weight on the rear, which is why we went for the 300 spring. Now I don't tow a camper anymore. I don't even tow a boat anymore. However, I do have a tow hit, like a tow bar attachment for my motorbike carrier. So there does we do end up with a fair bit of weight on the back end. Like I said, we do still have a steel tray and canopy coming, spare wheels, jerry cans, 100 litres of extra diesel and water underneath the tray. So I am really glad that we ended up doing the 300 kilogram springs, because I feel like I would have been changing it out eventually anyway. Now keeping in mind as well that I also have got an extra inch in the shackle as well. So that's not what I'm talking about today. I am just talking about the leaf springs, the torsion bars and the shock absorbers and how they've worked for me so far. So in the front we had the HD again formula, which is, I'm pretty sure they're just done by FULCRUM. The HD torsion bars, because we knew that I would be doing steel bar with the possibility of a winch, and it turned out that I would be going both of those. So for that reason, we ended up going with the HD torsion bars. Now the kit, in terms of flex, as you can see, it's not great. It's not the worst thing you'll ever see though either. The front flex is okay, about how you would expect an IFS full drive with heavy duty torsion bars in the front to flex. So one thing to note is that you will very rarely achieve awesome flex from leaf springs or from IFS. It's just not the way that they are built. IFS four-wheel drives are designed with more road manners in mind than off-road capability. So I think given what the kit costs, now you can get really expensive kits for these as well. They can cost you a right nut, or both of them if you're not careful. But I think realistically, for the price that you pay for this particular kit, I think it's a pretty awesome bit of kit. One thing to note is that these the setup that I have here, pre-shackle, always held weight really, really nicely. The second you put weight on the back, it was really comfortable. It tows really nicely, it's smooth, it's not clunky. It was a really nice smooth ride, and I've never felt the need to change it. The only reason I'm going for a 3-inch lift all around now is partially because of wank factor, and partially because I know I can get a little more down travel out of my suspension, and that having to utilize things like upper control arms and the shackles that I put in the back. The upper control arms are yet to come. Now ultimately, your suspension setup that you need is going to depend on what kind of car you're running or what kind of car you're going to run. If you are not going to be having weight in the back, and you just want a bit of a weekend warrior, consider a 150 to 200 kilogram leaf pack in the back. Like I said, I was intending on towing, hence why we went for the 300 kilogram leaf pack. If you're not intending on a bull bar or a winch or anything like that, consider leaving your standard torsion bars in and saving yourself a couple of $100, plus the cost of labour that it takes to fit the torsion bars. You could save yourself quite a bit of money if you're not going to be running a heavy setup in the front end. So if you are running a steel bar on the front and winch, or even just one, I would recommend to consider the upgrade, but like I said, weigh it up a little bit as well with whoever you're dealing with, wherever you're getting your suspension from. Don't be afraid to message people and ask them, and ask your suspension dealer what they recommend for what your application is, because it changes all the time. Now, issues that I've had with this suspension, none. It's one thing to note as well that I have done very little to maintain the suspension. I don't always get underneath and wash my car after I go four-wheel driving, so there's caked on mud in between leaf springs, bushes, things like that. I've done very little to maintain the suspension side of my car, and it's still, there's no weeps in the shocks. I've had no issues with things snapping, leaves, bushes wearing out prematurely. It's been A1 since I've had it. Now, as I said before, there are more expensive kits out there. The FULCRUM kits are a little bit more on the cheaper side, particularly if you're getting their formula shocks, but have a look, see what you can afford, see what people recommend for your particular model. Do I rate this kit? Absolutely. Are there better kits out there? Probably absolutely. I wasn't really willing to pay $1,800 for suspension from Bilstein, plus labour fitting fees, so for what I got, it was perfect for what I wanted it to do. Would I rate the suspension kit? Absolutely. It has been a really, really good kit for the application that I've needed it for, and that's the kicker. So make sure that before you buy your suspension, like I said, don't be afraid to message people, your suppliers, your mechanics. Message them and find out what they recommend for you and your application. And I think that's about it. Like I said, I am actually looking at finishing my 3rd inch, which will be upper control arms and just new shocks all around. Extended shocks to maximise my wheel travel. So that will be one of the upcoming videos, will be the upper control arms. I've already done the shackles. There's videos on my extended shackles. I'll leave some links in the description below. Like I said, I've got uckers coming and new shocks, so that'll be something to watch out for, and that'll complete my 3rd inch of lift, which will be awesome. That'll be my lift done. That's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell button so you get a notification every time I post a video. Follow me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, and I'll leave a link to everything I've said I will in the description below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.